And I found it interesting that you said you hated training with Bryan, but then, it helped, but later on, it helped you become a more dedicated wrestler. What at that time period made you hate? Was it just his like an old school style training regimen that he
Yeah,
had?
like
Like
I wasn't in nowhere near the shape I am now,
right,
so I remember distinctively every training I would always be late to because I'd be coming from work. So I'd
right.
always be late, and I would always have to do extra squats, extra push-ups, all that stuff. And I was just like, oh man, this sucks. And I was I was actually gonna make it to practice on time one day. I was like, oh yeah, making on time, no extra squats, and because that would ruin your whole day, you know. But but then all of a sudden I hit traffic. I'm like, no. So I'm like, oh no, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? So I'm like, all right, this is what I'll do. I'll get dressed in the car now so I can hop right out and go right into the training. So I get in all my gear, my knee pads, my boots, everything, and like pull up to the school at like we used to train at like 4 o'clock. So I was like 3:58, 3:59, and I'm like, like running up the steps in there and like rolled right into the ring. And Brian's like, wow, you made it on time today. I'm like, yeah, yeah, He's like, all right. So we start training, and then all of a sudden, like Brian just looks like enraged. You're like, oh gosh, like, and he's like, who the hell brought mud into my ring? And I was just like, oh no. And like everybody slowly started looking down at the bottom of their shoes and like no mud anywhere else. And then I looked down at the bottom of mine and I was like, oh man. And he's like, ow. So I had to do extra exercises anyways. So, but yeah, yeah. That was like training with Brian. But that's stuff you grow to appreciate later in life. Just like little lessons like that, and always having to be punctual and on time and stuff like that. So yeah, but training with Aries was a little bit different because he was like, hey, I'm not your personal trainer. We're not gonna come here and do squats until you puke or anything like that. But um, I'm your wrestling trainer, so that's what you guys are paying me for. So it was pretty cool that obviously I was doing my workouts on my own and all, but yeah, it was pretty cool that he just focused more on the wrestling. Brian, we'd have to do a whole lot of squats. I remember one day he was like, you got to remember, I was probably like 19 or so training with Bryan. So he's like, all right, everybody picks an exercise for the day. And he asked me, like, which exercise do you want to do today? And I was like, jumping jacks. And he's like, oh, jumping jacks, huh? And then he made us do 10 minutes of jumping jacks in the wrestling ring. And like, there's like four of us in the ring. And like, when you jump in, it's like bouncing, but you all got to be in rhythm though. Like, oh man, what about everybody was cursing me up and down for that one?